social distancing.
Yeah. Where's your mask? Good evening, folks. Welcome to FMA Discussion. Tonight is episode 84, and tonight we are featuring Tuhon Jack. For those of you who are watching, please tell us where you're watching from. Hit the like button, and if you have not already, check out the YouTube channel FMA Discussion, and by all means, join. And you can see all the great interviews before this. All right. Well, I want to thank you. You know, you've been on before, but I want to thank you for coming on with extremely short notice. I appreciate it.
You got to grab the opportunities that come in this household.
It worked out great because I didn't, even though I had a December list generated, I didn't put everybody in like, okay, he'll be this Tuesday, no that. So I didn't get to that. So it actually worked out really well to just plug you right into this today, Tuesday. So yeah. But so you know, for folks that maybe didn't see you the first time and all that, the first time we kind of focused on your FMA journey and all that through PTK, you know, obviously with Tuhon Bill and all that, and we touched lightly on the Global Karenza project, but we didn't go really deep and all that. So tonight's focus for those who are watching is going to be really going deep into that. And then we're going to touch upon Tuhon Jack's Zoom classes, and then he's got a demo for us. So I'm excited, and I think it's going to be some good stuff tonight's episode. So with that being said, as far as, again, the Global Karenza project, you know, just for the folks who maybe didn't see it, the first episode and all that, you know, what, I guess, you know, what was the, I guess, inspiration? Like, you know, how did it come about? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what made you come up with it?
We had just shut down. Things were closing everywhere, and I'm a school teacher. And I teach at the Rochester School of the Arts. And I work with various people. One of them is a dance teacher named Melinda Phillips. And she had posted a video of dancers. And one dancer would dance, and then it would cut away to the next dancer, starting in the position that the previous dancer left off. And all these dancers were all over the world. And it was really beautifully edited and organized. And I was thinking, wow, that would be a really great thing for Filipino martial arts to do, especially now, because if we can't get together and train, because, you know, all of our training up to this point has really been dependent on having another human being there. What can we do? Because I know personally that, you know, I'd go start raving mad if I didn't have some sort of outlet. So the first thing I did was message Paulo Rubio and asked him if he was interested. I showed him the video of the dancers and how they choreographed, and he said, let's do it. And he cast the net, let people know about it, and we thought we were going to get maybe 20 to 30 people. And we're probably over 210 now that have taken part in this. So he made, you know, with all these submissions that came in, he made a brief little trailer. And then he was supposed to make some big, like, length masterpiece, but there was just too many people to do it well. So what I did is I ended up making a series of previews where I would do like 10 or 15-second clips of the different practitioners and put them together in what ended up being 20 previews of the original 205 practitioners.
Okay.
And then from there, I figured, you know, these people send in this footage. They took the time to do it. Let's give them extended time. So I took it upon myself to do the Global Karenza project spotlights. People would just submit in various clips of themselves moving solo to demonstrate good social distancing, and I'd edit something for them. And that's what it ended up being. And then while that was going on, I did a series of edits. Instead of Paulo's full-length feature, I did a series of 6 or 7 chapters. Actually, I still have to do one more, an epilogue, to kind of tell the story of the COVID-19 crisis for Filipino martial arts practitioners, closings of schools, how people struggled to teach online, how people started networking, you know, to supporting other schools by buying their merchandise. It was a way to kind of keep things going and have people not fall into despair.
Yeah, no, I again, you know, it's funny when I first had you on and we touched upon it, you know, I knew it was out there, but I didn't realize to the magnitude, you know, what was really going on. Like I saw definitely a couple clips. You know, I thought obviously it was something neat and inspiring, but I didn't realize I didn't realize how many participants you got, and just how much it was really like literally global. You know what I mean? And all that. So this is why I wanted to have you on again, because after that initial interview, I really got to see it more and more, and how it was really taking off and all that. So I think it's been nothing but short of. It's been fantastic. Just when did you start doing it? Was it April, May?
So I think for us here, where I'm at in Rochester, the shutdowns happened at the end of March, and like the week after, I saw that video, the dancers, and that's where I got the idea. So I think we actually started working on it in April, and it's been rolling since.
Okay, all right. So it was relatively soon after shutdown. Okay. Just I know you mentioned, and just for the folks who are listening, the YouTube channel that you can go see all these on is PTI Academy on his YouTube channel, and they're all there. I highly recommend going to visit it, as well as some drawings too.
Oh, so yeah. My other art teacher. So.
Yeah, I thought some of those were really neat as well. So initially, I know you mentioned you got like 200 something people. Like, what was the initial approach? Like, to choose the participants? Like, was it messaging, or like, how did you guys go about to get that initial number?
Well, Paulo is the one who cast the initial net, and he did it on Aperture on Facebook. He just he made a little flyer and he sent it out, and he said, contact Jack Latorre, and they did. And they just kept on rolling in. And of course, I went out and solicited friends, people I've known for years, saying, hey, are you interested in doing something like this? There was no hard sell, but I didn't want to leave people out, because the point of it wasn't, to spotlight a particular group or glorify a particular feature. It had to be an equal opportunity thing, because the real teleology behind it was therapy. How, in the shutdowns, when we can't practice, how do we feel good about what we do? We don't have content. So it was kind of therapy. And there was actually one submission in particular that kind of solidified that. We had a practitioner, Michael Yamarino, and in addition to him sending his footage of Karenza, he sent like a 20-minute clip of him talking about what it meant to him and his journey. And it was very poignant, because I could tell how much this meant to him. And some of the other practitioners hinted at, what it's done for them. Some people didn't do much for them, but other people it meant a lot.
No. Wow. So that's so in other words, like, because it's funny. I've seen some of those clips that you referenced where they each got like like seconds here and there or what have you, and like I saw like Burton on there and a few others. So it was a lot of those are enjoyable. So again, those who have not seen some of those, I recommend you go through them. You're going to see people on there that maybe you didn't realize that were on there. This is something I really want to go to, because I've seen a bunch of them, and I don't know if it's just you have just an innate quality to like choose the quintessential music for the style they're doing or whatever they're doing. But where did you get the choice of music? How did that come about?
I'll be frank, it's the power of Pandora. So, clicking it on, I'll hear stuff, I'll hit like, and then it picks stuff. So some of the stuff that some of the artists that ended up getting used over and over again were like Emancipator and Closey, Bondax, and then anything else that kind of sounded great. And then I purchased the music. I want to support the artist. And then once I was looking at people's footage and I was trying to figure out the running time, I picked the music, or vice versa. It's very organic in feel. So I just kind of go.
No, I mean, like, it's so funny because, like, on my episode, like that song, like that song just, I was like, oh my God, what a great song. So I think they view mine on the song as opposed to me. That song was incredible. I'm like, actually now looked up that artist as a result of it. It was, wow.
And that's another byproduct. I'm hoping people will buy the music as well. I mean, I bought the music.
Yeah, it got me to
Most of
you got me to check them out. You know, I mean,
yeah, Jack. So,
yeah, no, I think it was some of the matchings and pairings I thought were just spot on. Like I just wow, that was incredible. We got some folks. Alvin, hey, Royce Ramos, hey, Conrad. What else we got? Oh gosh, I hope I pronounce this correctly. May Williams. I hope I didn't do abomination on that. Sorry, sir, if I did. And Chad Bailey. All right.
hello.
So then, okay, you touched upon the groupings for those who maybe are just joining and all that, or maybe didn't see him. So initially, like you said, you took the 200 and you made, I think there's like 20 something or
There's about 20 practitioners per preview.
And I think there was 20 something. How many of those episodes? I think like 20 or something. Am I correct in that?
There's 20 previews with about 20 practitioners or so in it, more or less. It can vary depending on depending on when people handed things in. There's people who have like spotlights now who aren't featured in the previews because they thought there was a deadline initially. It was like April 1st was the deadline, but Paulo and I decided that we could make this thing a rolling admission because we understood what it was doing for people. So it's still goes on.
Right. So okay, so yeah, so initially again you had the big groupings and all that where people sent, like what would you, when you were putting this together, like what did you request of them? Like, hey, send me 20 seconds or something, or was there a time limit you guys were?
Like minute and a half maybe. And we honestly at that point in the project, we just thought that's all the footage we needed, and we put together something that had some length to it. Once we got everything, Paulo and I were talking, and he said, if I did all this would be like 15 minutes or longer, and it's gonna drag on. You want, no matter how long something is, you want it to feel like 2 or 3 minutes. And he said there's no way to intelligibly do it in one sitting. But it seemed like a shame to me because all these people are sending in some great stuff. So I decided I'm going to do these previews, get everyone's face on there. And then that was by time for Paulo to problem solve. But it became too big a thing, so we had to change our approach.
I thought they were incredibly well done. I mean, like you said, they weren't too long. You got to see enough of each individual doing their thing. I thought they were incredibly well done. And again, for folks who are watching, there's 20 of those, and just practitioners from all over the world, different styles. Again, beautifully done. And then the next was from there, if I'm correct. Then you went into the individual where people could submit, and basically, generally speaking, those were anywhere from like 2 to 3 minutes, thereabouts.
Probably longer. They I think on average like 3 to 5 minutes. I try to keep them between 3 and 4 minutes, depending on the music and depending on how much footage someone gives me.
Okay.
But yeah, I was the first one because I figured I had to be the guinea pig. If I couldn't do right by myself, then I wasn't going to do right by anyone else. And that way, as the process went along, the more I did, the better I would get through the process. So I was first, and Tuhon Jim Panlilio from England was second, and Tuhon Belton Lubis was third, and then I got to Tuhon Kanishka Sharma was fourth, and then the process started polishing it out, polishing it off more and more.
Yeah, John's got 20. John, 20. What you have to do, John, is check out the channel PTI Academy on YouTube, and you're going to see basically their in their numerical order. You're going to see 1 through 20, and basically their accumulations of each episode of 20 or so practitioners doing Karenza. And again, there's 20 of those and all that, and they're separate from what we're talking about now, which are the individual highlights. Where the person is just by themselves, that are being highlighted. Hope that helps.
Yeah, there's if you go to the YouTube channel, there's a playlist. So just look for the playlist. And
the play, yeah, it's easy. It's easy to navigate. Yeah, like exactly. So again, I thought it was really neat on the individual aspect because I mean, obviously, it goes without saying. I mean, you being in the PTK community, I mean, obviously, initially you were getting some of those folks, but I've seen it widely, broaden out to different styles. Obviously, in ensemble blend, I've seen some, I think, Kabbalists, other stuff and all that. And I'm sure it's just going to grow where you're going to get some reps from basically, every system. I'm sure as time goes on, I've seen, obviously Tom Pena, all that, some great folks on there doing it, and then, so the last one is, which didn't, I don't want to say recently came out, I mean, some months ago, is where you got 1 through 7. But those are more themes. So I found those very interesting because you were highlighting some stuff. So let's hear about that.
So the idea behind those chapters, the 7 chapters, was to kind of retell for practitioners the experience of going through the whole COVID crisis. Things closing down, this kind of isolation, expectations, what was good information, what was bad information, what was changing information, and kind of revisiting the memories from that. And then showing how practitioners were training during the time, but I grouped them according to what I perceived as power generation, blade savvy, footwork. Because, when you're watching, all this footage, and I saw tons of footage. And
I can only imagine.
My Dropbox is pretty sizable. But the idea of how people move, why they move, what kind of things are important that come out in their movement. And so I've learned so much about how other people move and how I move in
Yeah. And I thought it was really neat how you did that. I thought that was, again, was incredible. So then let's, before we get into some of the other benefits that people got and all that, I really want to, just so people get an idea, let's, again, because you were the first one, let's show the folks. No, it was great. So this is, okay, for the folks who are watching, this is, again, the individual highlights where people highlight reels, where people just, individuals are focused. It's obviously a very sharp minuting.
Am I seeing anything? Am I supposed to see anything on my end?
You should, but that's also been a glitch here and there where the actual guests can't see. But basically, I'm playing your highlight track.
Okay, I don't know if anyone else can see it. I know I can.
Yeah, usually what happens is that if you can't, the others can, which again, it's a Be Live thing. Unfortunately.
Can they hear us talk right now?
Oh yeah. Oh, they still. Oh yeah. We can see. Yeah. See, Andres. Thank you, Andres. They're seeing it. Yeah. Definitely seen it.
I definitely have kind of favorite ones that that I really like.
Yeah. No. Yeah. But I think the whole thing is absolutely wonderful for the community. Sometimes it takes a crisis or something like this to sometimes bring the good out. So you know what I mean? So,
oh yeah, one of the other guys in one of the high-ranking instructors, the Cosmic World, and he put it great. Really took something that was keeping us apart and bring us together.
Yeah, 100%. Because like you said, I mean, a lot of people weren't able to get together with other folks, I mean, how many seminars got canceled?
Yeah, I feel bad because people were cannibals.
Yeah, I know.
Or he had a lot of really cool diplomatic things about to happen. And then
for sure. I mean, I know for you know, like people had a bunch of plane ticket credits. I know. I mean, I had like 2. You know, so there was yeah. Well, that was fantastic.
Is it over?
Just ended, yeah. But it was really good. That was your first one because you have like 2 or 3 out, correct?
Yeah, you know, because again, you know, before I started teaching Zoom classes, I was trying to figure out ways I could keep myself sharp martially. And you know, I work out, I go walking with the dog and stuff, but you know, there's nothing quite like picking up a blade or a stick or something. So
yeah, no, for sure, 100%. Yeah, I mean that's so again, folks who are just jumping in late and all that, again, you can see this again. It's PTI Academy, and that is on YouTube, and you'll see everything there. It's all there. Okay, all the ones we're talking about. So just before we showed yours, we kind of ended with the ones with the themes, like you were saying, like blade savvy. Maybe there was footwork that was really, you know, the highlight and all that. And now, currently, you're at 7 with that, right?
Yeah, there's 7 chapters, and then I have an epilogue that I made that I'm kind of recutting, just as a summary of everything, and kind of hopefully casting an optimistic light on this. So actually, I was gonna perhaps do that tonight. Well, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. So we might see a number 8 then. Okay. So, besides, okay. So what? I mean, again, I want to chime in. You know, obviously my experience, but what has it done for you personally? I mean, so this is kind of like a 3-part question, but let's deal with it first. So what has it done for you personally? Some of the things you already kind of touched on, but.
There's so many things, but I think the biggest thing is it's put me in touch with people that I might never have spoken, and it's helped with that kind of, you know, professional relationship, and some things have turned to actual friends. I'll say it out front, like there's some guys who I kind of connect with, you know, on a personal level. One guy is Tuhon Jack from England. He's the guy that we have, you know. After seeing his footage, I was really impressed with his movement. I mean, I think he was great. If you look at his live blade work. So I talked to him about that. I was very candid about like how I admired his work, and it just opened up levels of conversation about his experiences in Thai. And then he asked me about my experiences with Tuan Bill and just family and things. So it built friendships. On another level, it opened up levels of diplomacy that I haven't seen. I ended up talking with people from other systems, like Tom Pena, great guy. And if ever he comes to the States, and you know, I'd love to support whatever he does, whether it's in the States or in Asia. And then as far as the PKD Turkic community, it can be kind of catty sometimes. It's filled with all sorts of political landmarks, which I could care very little about. But you know, it's still the lay of the land. But doing some of these things, you know, there's no charge for the Global Karenza project. It's all good trust. And it's a time to be vulnerable and say, hey, you know, would you like to participate? And there's no axe to grind. And they realize that I really don't have an axe to grind. I really want their participation.
Or an agenda. You know what I mean? Right.
Yeah, if they want to do it, great. If they don't, no harm, no foul. And it's caused other talks to happen about the different eras of PKD Tertia, why it's changed, how his Tuangahe changed his approach, his pedagogy. Did techniques change, or did the way he teaches change? His history, and there's a number of practitioners who are part of this discussion on a private Facebook group. And I asked them permission first. They said it was okay to use their names because they're tired of all the political slogans. So you know, I got guys like from PTI like Danny Terrell. I've got Tuan Belton Lubis. I've got Tuan Arlene Pinpin Stevens. I got Paulo. He's kind of our chronicler. I got Mandala Rapagan. I got 2-star Ishmael from PTTA. Brilliant guy, really smart guy, and I'm glad to have him around. I know I'm so, there's someone else I can't mention because he didn't give me permission, but there's another high rank level PT, the Keith Georgia guy that, is oh my gosh, Danny, or if you're there, you can chime in. I'm having a brain fart. But there's people who are coming from different parts of Grand Tuhon's life that are starting to compare notes and like, why is this called this way? And oh, we call it this. It's the same thing, or that's something. And it's great to have this conversation that doesn't turn literally into this pissing. It's this open discussion where it's really academic. It's not bragging rights. It's not self-glorification. It's like, okay, I don't have the answer to this. Can any of you guys answer this? And people are very helpful, very friendly, and you can tell that there's trust being built. And that's the key. If we're going to end some of the silly political stuff, we got to build trust, and it's got to be based on meritocracy.
Yeah.
Did you earn that? And we're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, open dialogue. You know what I mean? Like, you might not agree or disagree. You might agree, disagree, but as long as it's respectful and there's open dialogue and people are getting, generally speaking, benefits from it, I think that's fantastic. I mean, and obviously everybody knows, it's not that we're going to, pound this in the sand, this theme, but, PTK has had its share of, stuff. I mean, I remember way back in the day with being on Tianza and Seok, and Tuhon Leo was coming to Waterbury to runs. And we were told we couldn't wear our shirts Sahara Tianzas. And I just remember thinking back then, without really knowing the history and all the, the ingredients that kind of made it what it was, I just remember thinking like, man, this is crazy. Like, I can't wear a shirt that, regardless if I was going to wear it or not, but it was just a mere thought that I was being told by an organization not to make sure not to wear a shirt. And this is going back, I want to say 2002, 2003. You know what I mean? And
yeah, at the ground zero on terms of what was going on, politically, and it's silly. And my friend Wes Tasker, he put it really great, and I use this all the time. We can inherit great martial systems without inheriting the biases of us. And
absolutely.
So, right, and the Pikiti Persia think tank and study group is about that. It's about, can we have mature discussions without posturing, and it's happening. And the flight's close because we don't want people sabotaging. It's not because we're super secretive. They have to learn super secret handshake. It's because, like building a fire, you got to feed it slowly. Little embers into larger branches into raging fire. So we're getting ourselves on good footing. We're past the awkward baby deer stage where we're kind of wobbling on legs. Some real productive discussions happening. And we're hoping to grow it because we know from each of the different organizations, Pikiti Persia, there's people who are like-minded, who are tired of the politics, who just want to train.
Oh, yeah.
And this is one way to kind of look at it. Instead of competition, look at it as a case of educated shopping. Like, this is what you're going to experience when you go to PTTA. This is what you're going to experience when you go to PTI. This is what you're going to experience when you go to PTKWF. This is what you're going to experience when you go to one GTS or one PTK. This is what you're going to get when which one? PTK SMF. It's not to say that one's better than the other. Everyone has their own preferences, but it's a case of what will you experience? What are you going to get? Why do they approach it that? I think it's well overdue.
Yeah, it's like, I got to be honest too, and I don't tell many people this just because. Running the show and all that, I can't show bias and all that. I try to be very neutral, welcome everybody and all that. But I stopped doing PTK, and I, by no means, I have nowhere the time like you do. And, nothing like that. I don't want to get this misconstrued. However, I went fairly deep, between, Greg Alond and Ron and all that. But I booked, man. After all that drama and all that stuff, I was just like, man, I mean, there's just too much out there for me to, I mean, it's not that I didn't like the system, and it wasn't really the people that bothered me. It was just everything that just kind of came with it. You know what I mean?
The things that you are saying are not at all uncommon, and that's a sort of thing that can kill a system. It chases potentially good practitioners in a way, and if you want something to grow, you got to feed it the right stuff. You got to take your time with it, and if you do all this posturing stuff, good people will get turned away from it.
Yeah.
And then you take what would be a great system, and it becomes basically this kind of stupid tribalism that we're trying to get away from.
Yeah. The tribe mentality. Yeah. Yeah, and I definitely don't like. I can't speak on the other organizations. The names sound familiar, the ones you just quoted, and I'm sure they're doing great things, are great people. But I'm more familiar with you guys, PTI, and I've seen nothing but great stuff. I've not seen any political. I've not seen any drama. So obviously whatever you guys are doing.
Tuhon Bill did a great job, kind of
Obviously,
arranging the for the organization. So we wouldn't have that sort of thing. So people could just focus on training and not on the other stuff.
Yeah, whatever he's doing, he's obviously doing it well and doing it, a good job at it. I mean, because the reputation speaks for itself, right? Before I get to the second part, we got a lot of comments. Just want to make sure. Oh, Tuhon Bill is here, and John Rissler, Dean Larson. Hey, Dean, good guy, huh? Dean Larson, such a great guy.
I've never met him, but I enjoy doing his spotlight.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Jack, for all your work on my video, and Dean for all you do for the FMA community. Highly welcome. Thank you for your support. Andre, and Alvin, John, just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Jeremy, hey Jeremy. Frank, hey Frank. Brian Zelinsky. All right. So, all right. So the second was, obviously what it did for you personally, and all that. You kind of touched on it a little bit by the example you quoted. The person that kind of, in addition to what they submitted, you added like 20 minutes of their own. But what else? I mean, just generally speaking from others, like, you must have been getting some great feedback from this.
I mean, yeah. I guess, if you look at a more all-inclusive picture of the people, they're appreciative, they share it. I told people, use it for, to promote whatever you're doing. I'm not saying there's anything copyrighted on my part. You just go use it, get exposed. I want people to know about you. And quite frankly, it's the people who look at it who will decide for themselves, do I like this? Do I not like this? I don't have to sell anything. I don't have to detract from anything. This is what it is. This is how this person moves. Do you like what you see? Can you learn from it? That's what this is about. I'm in that regard similar to you, and I'm being very neutral.
Yeah. Well, you've done an extraordinary job. I mean, just my own experience, to me, it helped me immensely, because I was like in front of the camera and move around. Like, it was always really, really, really difficult for me. Like, there was just walls in front of walls just to get in a comfort zone, just to let everything go and just do it and pretend like nobody's in the room. And no exaggeration, the one I submitted to you, I think I had like 20 takes or something. It just was.
And I have to say, you're the second person who also submitted a little video note, as well, and I want everyone else to know. And so, little things like that, they mean a lot. Because it means that it's not just, a means to self-aggrandizement. It's there's some, we're part of this bigger community now, and now I know I'm not alone. I'm not socially isolated. We might be socially distancing, but we don't want to live in this kind of isolation.
No, like for me, my gratitude was, like you said, I didn't care, that how many people liked it or all that. The big thing for me, it really broke me out of my comfort zone. Because you can tell me, okay, we're going to be sparring today. I'm like, okay, I don't there's a natural comfort zone with me. But when it came to put in like doing Karenza like that, and what it really came down to me, and I hold myself accountable. It's me. I didn't put the time in doing it. Like I didn't put like I would do stuff more attribute, non-tell, and all that, but I didn't necessarily. Obviously, I didn't put enough time into doing that. So now I'm getting older. It's kind of like it's kind of like, you know what, this ain't that bad. So my appreciation to you is like it really forced me to do that, and now I've made it such more of a religious practice per se to do it now. You know what I mean? So I salute you.
There's actually a video in the playlist called Flow, which you hear about the term flow in all the Filipino martial arts. This idea of moving seamlessly from one technique to another. And we often use it when we're working with a partner. But now in the age of social distancing, now we have to aim it as Karenza. How do we move from one motion to another meaningfully? What kind of things come out of our natural lexicon, in that combination of techniques? How do I make the most of this practice? How do I get the most out of my body down? Am I paying attention to my footwork? Am I being aware of where my edge is on my weapon? So it becomes a way of getting better in ways that we may not be accustomed to. And I'm no exception by any means.
No. Matter of fact, I mean, like, definitely, especially with like we mentioned with sword, like really articulating the edge, awareness, and all that. Yeah, I mean, like, absolutely. I mean, just yeah, I mean, it's great stuff. I want to touch on something you mentioned. When you said what it did for you, kind of like bridging the gap, not only to others, but more importantly, to other styles. And I can kind of relate to this because by virtue of this show I'm doing, I know for absolute fact I would have not met some of the people I've met and appreciate what they're doing or get to know them. I know that for a fact because there really would have been like no means to do that. You know what I mean? Like, like what would have been, like I'm sure randomly.
I kind of talk in regularly on Facebook. I mean, first Tom Pena, I didn't know Tom existed. It wasn't until Tuhon Jack said, "Hey, I have a friend who wants to do this. Is he okay that he contacts you?" And Tom and I get along splendid. I mean, but he's a great guy. Fascinated with somebody's family life. Another guy, Alvin. Alvin's another guy. I just touching base with him, and he really seemed to really appreciate the edit cut that he got. And he was telling me he watched it all the time. But as we got to know each other better, he's an autism, and that's a special spot in my heart, because that's pretty much my existence, So just to touch base with people, and oh yeah, you do that style, that's great. I'll learn about that style, but it's becoming about people and reaching out and getting to know people that I would never have gotten to meet otherwise.
No, 100%. I'm here. Like I've gotten like, I mean, and again, and I didn't go in there, it's weird. It's like the benefits that you didn't think about initially that come along with this. Like my initial goal was, okay, I'm going to do this show. I'm going to try to bring community together. Try to bring more light to FMA as a whole. We're getting killed by MMA, BJJ, and yada yada. But if you asked me back then, hey, you're going to meet 100 new people that you really are going to gel with, I would have, that wasn't like a thought back then. You know what I mean? It's kind of like it came with it, and it's a wonderful addition. Don't get me wrong. Like I mean, like you mentioned something like Tom. A couple of people now that I do online. I mean, like that would have never happened if it were not for like stuff like this. So so it's really neat to see some of the common ground here that we've both gotten, from this, what you've done and, are currently doing and what I'm doing and all that, like this exposure, not in the system, but more importantly, like people, like the really just good people that you're meeting,
One of the things is that, I want every once in a while I'll peek in on my YouTube channel just to see how things are kind of growing again. And it's you actually that had like the quickest rate of growth in terms of viewership, and people tune into your show, they know who you are. And then like when I first mentioned to people that I was going to get interviewed by you, that previous interview, people would say, "Oh yeah, Dean's the nicest guy. He's a gentleman. You know, he's so neutral. And, you know, you can see in, you know, the interest that you've generated in the community that people will follow you because they trust you, you know, and that's a good thing. I mean,
I totally agree with you. Yeah, like if you have good intentions, people will see that. They'll pick up on that. Like if you truly have good intentions and what you're doing is for the good of the community or good for all, people see that. If you have bad intentions or they're really kind of you know what I mean? People will see that too. You know what I mean? It's really true. Yeah, I agree. So then, like, so these other systems, I mean, like, you know, like, what did you like? Just from a learning curve from your own journey, like, you know, like, what is there a system out there that, like, wow, you know, that's really neat. You know, I would have never known that if I had not done this.
There's a running joke between him and I, but girl J. Jasper Pugow of the Science Style.
He's coming on. He's coming on this month.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna troll that guy. Loving a piece is great guy. I have to be honest. The first time I watched him, I'm like, you know, I was getting mad because like if he ever tries to fight me like that, I'm gonna take offense to that. But he's a great guy, but he just moves so beautifully. And I'm fascinated.
Yeah, the Sunny Moon Pod.
Talking to Paulo about it. Paulo was like, yeah, I felt that the very first time I watched the move. So I am totally looking forward to a lot of the newfound West Coast brethren like Jay Jasper and Alvin, Cassianco, Bob Manalo, you know, be reunited with other people I've met before, but I want to meet again in the aftermath of the Global.
Yeah. Sure. I know, like, yeah, he's coming on. I'm really excited because I've been really trying for like months now to get somebody like to represent Sunny Oompod because when I watch his old video, it's like, Feet of Magic.
Brett Paulo and Maya Soderholm. Those are the three that you want to sniff.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. I've heard all those names. Yeah. So, and I'm excited like that because, you know, I want to see it too. I mean, let's, you know, so that and you know, isn't it neat? Like again, like if I hadn't done these, like I wouldn't like. I don't know if I would like really pursue like seeing these other systems. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, you know, but like through this, like you get to see other stuff, and you're like, wow, that's really neat. That's, you know, why did they do that, or how did they do that? You know, I mean, it's neat.
Kind of spelling out in the kind of human interplay, like Chasianko, the chief from one of the factions of Derobio Spina. I mean, I like him a lot. He just strikes me as a good guy.
Derobio, huh?
So I bought a Derobio T-shirt, and I said, you know, if I go out there and visit you out on the West Coast, if there's anyone you want me to tune up, just point them out. I'll wear the Derobio T-shirt.
I'll represent. Yeah. Well, we got Telly Doug. Hey, thanks, Doug, Alvin. Both of you, are welcome in San Francisco. Oh, thank you, Alvin. That would be wonderful. Yeah, I tell you, man, we're all going to be traveling when this ends. Yeah, we're all going to be flying somewhere when this ends.
Start rubbing Lysol on.
Wow. So then, what about women? Like, what are you doing? And this is, you know, it's funny. I didn't have this question planned. It just kind of, some of these things, they take a life on their own, these interviews. Like, how do you, like, I'm really making a concerted effort to get a woman on, one woman practitioner. I don't care what their level is. I don't care what their salary is per month. And I, you know, obviously I want that to grow, but I figured a good starting point. How'd you get them
on? Again, the net's neutral. Who are, you know, martial arts and can be kind of male dominant, you know, but we definitely have female participants. So, I mean, I've had a few. I had Sonia Zeller from Germany from, you know, FCS. I just put out one, Karen Sindari. And I happen to know her because she lived in Syracuse. She was coming out to Rochester for classes. Unfortunately, her husband, who also took classes, moved out to Iowa, but now she's starting to take Zoom classes.
Okay.
And I said, are you interested? If we could use more female participation, I think she latched onto that. If you're looking for a guest, if she's willing to talk, Tuhon Arlene Pimpin Stevens. The first female Tuhon of Bikini Tertia. She's
Who's,
down
I'm
in
sorry, who, I'm sorry, what was her name again?
Arlene Pin's last name is Stevens.
Stevens, Arlene Stevens.
She got two of her. She put out actually a book, and it's doing well. It's available on Amazon. Train Collie, I believe. No, Train Bikini. No, Train Bikini.
Huh. So I was going to ask you.
Anyway, Google her. She's got
I definitely will.
Yeah.
Yeah. And who was the female you just mentioned from FCS?
Sonia Zeller. SANJ.
Oh, okay. I think I reached out to her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Her and her husband do FCS, and in fact, the spotlight's done on them. They're very creative movers, and that's generally a hallmark that I've seen in people from FCS. They kind of do stuff creatively to see if they can do it. There's a sense of inventiveness about it. So when you're looking at the flow video on the playlist, so one of the things that I look at in the Karenza is creativity, and they are prime examples.
Yeah, Tuhon rated in on those, and influence for sure. Yeah. Wow, well, yeah, thanks for that reference. Yeah, I'll definitely reach out to her. I mean, 100%. So, well, this has been fantastic just on this whole thing. Again, we obviously both our projects per se or whatever that has enabled us to meet people and others that we perhaps normally wouldn't have met.
Yeah, exactly.
So next stop, you got some Zoom classes going on. So let's hear about it. What made you want to, what gave you the inclination to want to do it?
It was weird. I miss training. I miss teaching because, at heart, I'm a teacher. Things we did. And I started seeing other organizations teach Zoom classes. And I was thinking, how do you do that with Filipino martial arts when everything is so contact oriented? Having that point reference, where do I stand relative to an opponent? And then I started looking at who was having the Zoom classes, and my loyalty is to PTI. I love PTI, and while we have the PTI store, the downloads, the shirts, the little bundles and kits and stuff, PTI teaching it kind of stopped. And I didn't want that to happen to the organization. Tuhon had the Philippine tour canceled. We canceled the summer camp, which is basically my giant carrot for the year. I look forward to that every year, as most practitioners do. I had to throw something out there. So I was thinking, if I had to teach on camera, after teaching art for a little bit on camera, how can I serve students? And so what I decided to do is focus on body dynamics, a lot of the rudiments. And while we can't train certain techniques that are obviously partner dependent, we can work on building certain attributes. So when I teach a Zoom class, sometimes it's forms, because obviously forms translate well, learning solo. Yeah. But a lot of you engage the hips. What's the connectivity between the upper body and the lower body? Why do you move this way? When you've seen as much footage as I have on the Global Karenza project, you can see, and this is not a criticism of anything, but you see some people who are using their body to hit. You see other people who are just flailing around extremities. And so how do you get the biggest bang for your buck in power? And that's what I'm trying to do somewhat like Zoom classes.
Yeah, I mean, one thing about PTK, they're known for their power generation. I mean, that's, anybody knows them. What are your goals for the students by doing this? What do you, for them, what do you want them to get out of it?
It's similar to me having an outlet, going from training whenever you want to all of a sudden going cold turkey. It gives them an outlet, so there's an element of therapy. But by the time, whenever this happens, whenever we mitigate the pandemic, and hopefully these closures are a thing of the past, what have you kept sharp during that training time absence? What have you worked on? If you say, hey, I can't work with a partner, I'm going to stop. I mean, I get it, but we can do something about There's certain amount of authorship we should have in our training. So for me, it was initially lifting weights, going for long walks with the dog, but I was missing the martial part. The class is giving me that therapy of practice my communication skills, to start moving martially again, and to take people along for the ride.
Okay. Yeah. So what's your primary? I mean, you mentioned one thing about body mechanic, but as far as choosing like the material you're going to show, what are you choosing? What's the focus? I guess because again, like you mentioned, I mean, it's going to be tough to do some things, of course, but
I really didn't think that far ahead. I did agree to do a demonstration. I'm in my basement. It's tough. I mean, there could be Karenza flow and explaining it, but one of the things I've been hammering in my classes, especially during the warm up, is how do you get to generate power? And it shouldn't be that you're solely a muscular person. You can use X amount of muscular strength, but if you're 90 pounds, you're not going to be all that strong. However, if you're 90 pounds, if you drop a 90-pound weight on someone's head, they'll feel it. So how do you maximize your powder charge? When you have a cartridge and you're kind of loading, the gunpowder in it, try to get that extra kick out of it. That's what we're trying to do. So some of that is rotational power. I took exercise stepping. Some of that is footwork. How do I displace my body weight? So I'm hitting with more power. I'm using my body weight. I'm projecting myself forward into the opponent. Some of that is, doing kinetic change between muscle groups. So if I'm throwing a forehand, which every Filipino martial art and any martial art has, am I just using tricep extension and then biceps to recover, or am I using my pecs involved? Am I using my hips to do that? How am I using my hips to motivate the motion for my upper body? A lot of my classes are about that. So you're not moving, kind of closing your eyes and waving a magic wand. When you hit someone, they should stay hit. Okay.
No, that's great. And then those who want to, are interested in these classes, I mean, you're advertising, and obviously, I see the advertising in the various groups. For those who maybe have not seen them, obviously they can reach out to you via Messenger.
Yeah, reach out to me via Messenger, and you can also get me at my email. That's also ptiacademy@gmail.com.
Okay, that's all right. That's easy. Thanks, Alvin.
What you do in the comments, I'll post information in the comments as well after the broadcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Alvin. He put it on here: visualizing flow, a Bikini Turja Kali training companion.
Yeah, that's on Facebook.
Yeah, she put it there. I'm definitely gonna look that up. Wow. Hey, just before we go on to your, do you? Because one of the episodes I'm going to do down the road is like a book review. Like me and this other guy, we were kind of collectively bring all our books together and just recommend like good books everybody do on FMA. Outside of this, who else has written books on PTK? Anybody else?
Not that I'm aware of.
That's what I mean. It's funny. I thought the same thing. Like I have books on, everything, and I'm thinking like, wait a minute. Nobody's written a book on PTK yet?
That can of politics that, you try to avoid opening? I think that's some of it.
That's so true. Like, you're right. If you were writing a book, oh my gosh. Like, depending on...
Well, the thing that, a standard answer I've heard to that very question is, it's like, Tuhon Jack is the book.
Yeah.
And I get it. The guy, he's a progenitor of the system. He brought it to America. He's taught all these top shelf practitioners. But there's the thing, it's like, while no one is perfect, the idea of the art ending with a person is really a misled. Systems continue on past any particular inheritor or progenitor. It happens if you have validity to the system. The system should be the start. So, giving all due credit to Tuhon Jack for the things that he does and for making it available to these practitioners, the last thing that any of us want to see happen is it to die. the best tribute you can give to the system is continuing it in a quality manner to good people. That really should be the goal. Because if you put out lousy practitioners, if you half-heartedly give parts of the system out, that's an excellent way to kill your own system.
Yeah.
So in many ways, in order to do this well, you have to have a degree of self-esteem. You got to forget about how invested your ego is. You got to go in thinking, how do I best serve this? How do I get them to the next level? What do I need to do? And how do I kind of see them? How do I support them in their efforts? That attitude that I have with my own students and PTI in general, the membership, is now spilling out to other. How do I help people get better at what they do?
Yeah. No. You guys are. I mean, like again, like I reiterated earlier. I mean, like I see nothing. I see no drama in your guys' organization. You and Tuhon Bills. Like I've never seen it. Like it's just So kudos to you guys. I mean, obviously you guys are doing something incredibly well, and all that. And also, yeah, in your organization, let's give that some due. Oh. Tuhon Bill beat us to the punch. He listed it, www.ptiaacademy.com. Okay, thank you. We don't have to worry about that. He's got you covered. Oh, Kylie, all right, we got. Hey, all right. Here's the book. GT is the book. So Lamont, I am the book. Yeah, Kylie Doug. Leo says there isn't a book because he's the book. And you can't argue that. Right. Okay.
And I totally get it. But just like when Shakespeare died, he didn't burn the books. It goes on. So we at some point have to decide to be curators of this. We have to, look at the system, learn the system, spread the system, reevaluate the system, and keep it going if it's going to have any validity. If it only lasts with 1 or 2 generations, then maybe it died for a reason. And there's been too much effort, too much blood, sweat, and tears to bring the East Persia to where it is.
Yeah,
I, for one, do not want to see that happen. I've been in it, I think, 25 years now. It's such a waste.
Yeah, I know, right. You put all those, I mean, literally in your case, 2 decades plus, and then for it to just go away. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to this. We got demo time.
All right.
So whatever you want to show. I mean,
I'm going to need a moment to move some stuff.
Okay.
So if you want to keep the conversation going while they move stuff around.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can do that, sure. Okay. All right, so he's going to be setting up there where he's going to be showing the demo. And
you can also
what else?
Humidifier, fans.
Okay. Yeah, take your time. No rush. No worries.
No, it's definitely a rush.
For those, again, that jumped in late, the YouTube channel, most of you, I'm sure, know by now, but for those that are somewhere on here who maybe not know, it's the YouTube channel is PTI Academy. Again, all the stuff that we were talking about as far as the Karenza project, all the videos are on there. So the individual highlight ones, the groupings, they're all on. Highly recommend visiting it. Great stuff on that channel. I think you'll enjoy it, checking it out.
Any questions I can field while I'm finishing setting up?
No, no. Yeah. What the heck? I got one. Just on the coil / C step, I guess, pending who calls it what and all that. Do you emphasize going on your pinky toe when you make the rotation, or is it more or less should be the ball of the foot?
Oh, you mean talking about sidestepping?
Yeah, I guess I guess it's called. Yeah, to me it was referred to as C step, coil step, but side step. Yeah, that kind of.
Are you asking that question, or someone else asking that question?
What's that?
Who asked that question?
Who asked?
Yeah, who asked the question?
No, me.
Oh,
I was just curious. Like, do you really try to emphasize going on like the pinky toe for the rotation, or do you just stress the ball of the foot as a whole?
In the beginning, you try to teach people the ball of the foot for 2 reasons. One, the less surface area touching the ground means you move it faster. There's less drag, less friction involved.
Okay.
And the other aspect is you know, if you can't do something well slowly and deliberately, there's no way it's going to come out quickly under duress.
Yeah,
So
true.
understanding that as things happen, you have the adrenaline up, things will get truncated. If you end up dragging more of your foot on the floor, it's not going to be a totally alien feel. But when you're training, you're trying to do perfect practice, because perfect practice will make permanent. Practice does make permanent, but it doesn't mean that what you're doing is perfect. So you got to really go on, on perfecting stuff. And the reality is that how often are we fighting for our lives daily? Some of the people are watching, maybe. But since I'm not fighting for my life every day, I have time to get better at stuff. Why not work on perfection?
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
That's the thing right now.
Okay. Yeah.
How about, would you like to see some of the lessons in connectivity? I can show
Sure.
I
Yeah, whatever you want to show. Absolutely. Yeah. Everybody will.
Without a person.
It's okay. Yeah, just show whatever you want. Yeah.
Okay. So when I'm teaching my classes, I talk a lot about building that power chart. So again, throwing a forehand, I'm just using, muscular strength of my tricep extending, my bicep to do the recovery, and I'll involve my pec, which is involved in dragging my my humerus forward. So that's muscular strength. Gluing my feet down, I'll have students use the hips. So the hips act as kind of like the train, and the arm becomes kind of the. So I had the hips turn to motivate the arm to. Once I get that idea of hip rotation, I can start now using that idea of sidestepping. So now I'm going to turn my base, and when I turn my base, if I just keep my spinal axis in place, now I'm using my feet to move, which in turn, pulls the rubber bands in my waist and my core to motivate my chest and arm to move. And so therefore, I can now start hitting. And if I stay, again, I'm going to try to keep my spine in place. I can hit harder this way. And then the nice thing is with sidestepping, not only can I get rotational power, but I can also now start placing my core. So as I'm generating power, I can get myself out of harm's way and tag the other. So a lot of my classes are kind of based, at least the warm-up, on the idea that no matter what I'm striking with, I want to strike with more than just my arm. So even things like thrust, it's not just a dink and hoping that the guy's going to fall down and drop. It's a case of how to load up. I'm going to start that squat, the idea that I'm going to use large muscle groups here, in this case, my quads, my glutes, and my spinal erectors in my back. So I'm using large muscle groups. I'm getting a hip rotation, so I'm getting rotational power. And then, of course, I'm using the rest of the kinetic chain in my chest, front delts involved in the process.
Okay.
In some cases, you will see instructors or practitioners do things like this where they slap themselves. And people outside the FMA will sometimes ask, why are you hitting yourself? It's not because I'm hitting myself. That's not the goal. The idea here, sometimes you hear people say they're just putting their hand in an advantageous place, which is true. But it's also that I'm using what Dr. Kartik Shaw referred to as contralateral muscle usage. So instead of me using one pec, I'm using both pecs as if I'm doing a pec deck machine.
Oh, okay.
And I'm using one pec to overcome the inertia from the other side. So instead of just hitting with one pec, I'm hitting with both. And that's some of the stuff you'll see in my class, trying to make sense of why your body's moving a certain way. Are you doing it just because you were told to do it, and you're doing it without meaning, without real essence? Or do you understand what you're doing and how you're applying it every time you move?
Yeah. No, I like that whole, about, because sometimes I thought they would say, and I know some systems they put a break, to maybe get in quarter tabata, dose pairs, they'll, to get the whip or like that. But the power, that's kind of neat. That's the first time I've heard like that.
Don't really go to the gym and see anyone doing one-arm techniques.
That's true. I haven't. Yeah, I haven't yet. You know what I mean? That would be kind of funny.
Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen that way for a reason.
Just, I have something if you don't mind showing. Just the Florete. Just, So in other words, you're going slash. Is that because? Well, actually, I'll just have you show it.
Yeah. Tuhon Bill showed it. Hi, Tuhon Bill. It was done as a sword technique. The idea that Kitty Tertia sword theory is based off of a single edge blade, like the Gununtin. I mean, there might be a false edge in some cases, but most of the Gununtins I've seen with a false edge, it's not a sharpened edge. It just gives you a little bit thinner profile, so you get more PPSI, the striking surface. But the idea is that if I was making contact, let me get another sword. If I was making edge-to-edge contact with a sword, I might damage his edge, but mine gets damaged too. So the idea is that instead of making contact with a very thin part of the metal, I will now turn it and use the spine of the blade, which is significantly thicker. And so I can start damaging his blade while sparing my own. In the process of letting the inertial flow, I can now apply my edge where it belongs on his body.
Okay. All right. So I was shown that correct then. Okay.
Back, then cut.
Yeah, and, right. The back into there. Okay.
Here it's like impact, cut. Impact, cut. So no matter what angle you're coming from, you're trying to think of using the spine of the blade to make the initial contact with weapon to weapon, or idealistically weapon to his flesh.
Yeah. Okay. Good. No. And then on the lateral, like the side to side bond or whatever, same thing. You're going here, turning over, and coming back, right? Same thing, right?
So if I can go from the forehand side and look at the backhand side, I'm starting palm down to palm up, so I can present the tip of the weapon first. Go to palm down, so now I can present the edge on the palm, and then I will recover palm up. So palm down, palm up, palm down, and then recover palm.
Okay.
So
nice. Okay.
And forehand side, palm up to palm down to palm up to palm down on the recovery.
So again, because I've seen different levels of people, and by no means I'm saying they were wrong what they taught me. I don't want to say that. But are you also here?
All right, Dean's breaking out some weapons too. What if I do?
So would you ever kind of with the back? You're kind of here or boom. Like I get what you're saying. You're going here, knocking off, coming back through. Going here, knocking off, back through. But would you ever use a back four for like the front end motion? Is that applicable or
back
is that basically?
Or
was I giving wrong information?
Hold on. I have one hand here. I'm gonna go watch different things. The spine here is dull, so I can hit pretty hard. But even though that's the dull edge, that's still impact. So when I'm doing this, I can shatter thumbs. In fact, in sparring, I have probably ended more fights with the back of the blade shots, obviously stick, but that orientation more than any. I've smashed so many thumbs where they had to stop. Just that alone.
Yeah,
and I even have flying.
So, but no words.
And then again, when you look at blade theory, I'm always presenting to myself the back of the blade. So I have the back of the blade on me. There's the edge. There's the edge. And now I can recover fully, get a full range of motion, and know that I'm in safety because I have the back.
You have the false edge hitting your other side, right? I gotcha. So, but for on the true edge, on the for instance, on the back, like on the like here, where they have a true edge, like you mentioned, like on the 4 inches here, would you ever, again, and I totally get what you're saying on that, on the full here and all that, but would you ever use the back 4 inches coming back up?
Oh yeah. Whether it's dull or not, I would absolutely use this because again, it's a thinner profile, and I create more pounds per square inch, impact. So that actually will hurt more than if it's the stick. If it's sharp, great. But but you have to be aware of it because there's a number of techniques in Bikini where I will draw the back of the blade against me. So some swords are made in proportion to the user, where if it's not, they'll end up getting cut.
Yeah, you're cutting your own arm.
I'll actually present the flat of the blade against me, so I can do things like that and not worry about cutting myself because I'm presenting the flat of the blade. I know what the edge is.
No, gotcha.
Going above my head. like so.
Actually, no. Thank you. I was just wondering, like, whatever the instruction I got, if it was kind of consistent with you guys, so it wasn't getting like received like incorrect information or whatever, because one of the things that was taught to me is that with the back fork, you can kind of come up like that with your and then obviously go into your slash and whatever, and all that. That's that's one of the things that was explained to me. What made this particular sword kind of unique. I mean, as you already obviously know, using that back 4 inches, you know what I mean. Also, but and so now, where's the Talabong fit? So, I mean, obviously, that's pretty much the predominant weapon in PTK, but does the Talabong is pretty significant as well. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, it's the other weapon of the Geek Tertia. This is a trainer, but I have a live one somewhere. I'm not going to pick it up.
Yeah.
But
okay.
yeah, for me, the thing that matters is length, and of course, point of balance. So, I have a few good huntings, and some I favor more than others because of the balance. But things like this good hunting, I love a lot. It feels good in the hand. It's a good size for me. But that forward angle, some people think the good hunting is just a curve, and sometimes I see good hunting designs that are a little awkward because of that. The blade itself is relatively straight. There's a gentle concave curve to it, but it's where it bends at the handle that puts a sweet spot a little farther at the tip. So
Okay.
But it's not so bent where it affects a thrust.
No. Where'd you get that from?
That sort of thing.
Where'd you get that one from?
Where did I get this one? If those of you who remember the old Lionheart videos with Alan Sacchetti and Tuhon Jack and Tuhon Nene, this is one of the ones from. So this actually is my favorite gun thing. Has a lot of sentimental values.
Oh my gosh!
This came by way of Doug Marcaida through another practitioner that came to me.
Wow! Yeah, so that's a keeper, obviously. Wow!
What's that?
No, it looks great. The hand, not just the handguard and all that, but like you said, neat.
But yeah, this is my favorite gun thing.
When you just spoke of balance and all that, like what other ones that do you really like, far as the balance that you mentioned in the weight? Like, are there guys out there that are what you described that are making them?
If I were to buy another good hunting, I would source out, if I could, to some of the guys in the Philippines. Actually, the maker of this good hunting recently died this year, Marcial Guarino, but his son Michael continues the tradition. And if I was going to buy another good hunting, that meant something to me, it would be from him, Marcial.
Yeah.
However, good hunting that I would love to test drive, it's put out by oh my gosh, he's in Texas, Brian Beagler, and I would like to handle one to see if it's very expensive, but I'd at least like to see how it handles. There's a number of trainers put out.
What was his name?
Brian Beagler, Biegler.
And he's okay.
So if you look up Beagler, he tends to make some of the designs for the guys over at PTK SMF. It looks like amazing stuff, but I just don't know how it feels. So, from all accounts, from other people, respect, they handle well. They handle beautifully. I just haven't had the chance to handle it.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious. No, okay, all right. No. Well, this has been absolutely fantastic. I'm so glad we got you back on here again. It's been absolutely wonderful. And we're going to have your chief on that, Tuhon Bill saying, I guess January is a better month for him. So he's actually posted a couple videos, attachments here. So I have to check those out and all that.
Awesome.
Yeah. But so how about, any closing statements for the audience?
Yeah. With the pandemic seemingly, endless right now, I know we have to have an end to it. We just don't know when that is.
Yeah,
there's no deadline anymore to the Global Karenza project. So if you're interested in submitting stuff, write me at ptiacademy@gmail.com. And You can tell me what you want to do. I'll tell you what you need. I can tell you on camera real quick. I'll need several clips. I don't care if it's 5. I don't care if it's 12. That exceed 5 minutes sum total. So not one long clip, but several smaller clips. Okay. And maybe the clips should be maybe 30 seconds to more than a minute or whatever. So I can edit down from them. Send me those clips. Send them Google Drive, or you can send them to me via Dropbox to my. I'll also need a picture for the intro. So a picture you like, otherwise I might have to stalk you on the internet and find a decent picture.
Okay.
And then I'll need information like, obviously your name, a rank or title. That's not necessary, but if you have one, I'd like to know. The system that you're representing or systems that you're representing, and your location, city, state, country, and send me those things and I'll get to it when I get to it. Obviously my top priority is teaching art and family, not but I'll get to it when I get to it.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, you've been pumping them out there, so I mean, obviously you've been doing it. So I mean, I've been seeing the new ones come out, and I always check them out, and I think it's great. And there's also you also got the Facebook page, Global Karenza too. Am I correct?
Yeah, it is a Facebook page, so you can go there. What happens on the page is that's where I'll debut a spotlight. But also when I'm on Facebook and I see someone do a Karenza, and I'm like, hey, that's kind of cool. I'll share it and I'll put it on.
Yeah.
So that way, even if they didn't submit anything to the previews or for a spotlight, I'll try to share their stuff so someone can contact them.
Yeah. I think I think that's really nice of you. Yeah, right. Wow. But again, wow, this has been an absolute pleasure. I thank you so much. And like the usual, I downloaded this, so the YouTube version, I'll place on your wall and all that, and all that. So, but again, this was fantastic. People got an insight to what you're doing as far as the Global Karenza, and those who wish to choose to submit something can do so. And again, you guys have heard enough, and it's been on here, but for those who maybe just chimed in or joined, PTI Academy, the YouTube channel, again, all the aforementioned are on there, and I highly recommend checking that channel. Some really good stuff on there, along as with some of your personal stuff as well. So a good channel. I'm subscribed to it, and I enjoy the content, and I'm sure you will as well. And so. But again,
you do. I mean, just the kind of exposure you've given people. I think, especially at this time, it's very much needed. So.
Yeah, it's funny. I was explaining to somebody who said, "Hey, you're already up to 84," and I explained to him, I was just doing one a week pre-COVID. And then when COVID came around, I'm like, well. Not much going on, so I think I'll start doing 2 a week. so
that would be your
yeah. So I'm going to keep doing it. Even when COVID goes, I have to look at my schedule. But I don't know. I think it like Zoom classes. I don't know if the twice a week is going away. So, so I might have to keep it going. Yeah. So. But again, I want to thank you so much, and you take care of yourself. And we'll be in touch, of course. I'm going to force myself to send you another revisited. So it'll be good for me. Yeah.
All right.
All right, Tuhon Jack. Thank you.
All right. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Thanks a lot, Dean.
All right. Take care. Absolutely.